Let's start with the golf club. What are the distinctive qualities of Royal Liverpool that still and always make this a reliable open venue?
Well, I think first and foremost, it is a wonderful members club. It's a proper golf club with great history and a lot of roots in the amateur game and the elite amateur game, and then in the professional game. And this was part of the 1930 Bobby Jones wins. But I think the golf course, I always look at the golf course, and I think what differentiates it, it's very flat. We have some that play on top of the dunes and some that play through the dunes. This one sort of is flat. But I think what really makes it is the fairway bunkering, which is really hard and beautifully placed. And then the runoffs around the greens. They're not big slopey greens, they're subtle greens, but they're a lot smaller because of those runoffs. And I think it makes it a great club.
Number 17 is already the talk of the tournament. We haven't even hit a shot yet. And you just mentioned to us that golf course architect Martin Ebert has done 8 of the 10 courses that you use. Did Royal Liverpool go to Martin Ebert? Did you go to Royal Liverpool? How did this work, and how did you decide you were going to build this hole?
It's a great story. So some of the feedback we got after when Tiger won here in '06 and then when Rory won here in '14 was that Royal Liverpool stands up as a really good golf course, but it sort of lacks the drama at the end. It hasn't got the 17th road hole of the old course. It hasn't got that massive jeopardy at the end. And so we took that feedback on board, and we were thinking about what to do and how to enhance it. And actually the club came to us and said, there's been a lot of chatter about could we switch what was 15 in those days that played downhill as a par 3, could we switch it up onto the dunes? And we looked at that. We loved the idea from the very beginning. And we loved it because it also enabled us to create 4 holes at the end, which has lots of drama.
Correct.
So now you've got 15 at 610, something like that. You've got 16 coming back at 480, tough par 4 even for these players. Then 136 yards pop up the hill.
Pop up the hill. You make it sound so easy, Martin.
And then 18 is 620 yards. And so it was a combination of that. And we asked Martin to come and look. We have a very strong preference for short par 3s. I think if I ever sit down with my friends, and I think you and I have talked about this over a glass of wine, about what's the best par 3s in the world, and they're nearly always short ones.
Well, any golf course architect, and there are not many universal things in this game of golf, but a great short par 3 is something. Brooks Koepka mentioned that right away, how great short par 3s make a golf course. I hope by the end of the week we call this 17th hole a great short par 3. Yeah. I'm wondering if...
I'm going to wait till Monday.
I like that you said you're going to wait till Monday.
No, but I know. But if somebody pulls a Thomas Bjorn out of the bunker and makes a 6, does it take away from the hole and from the event?
I think, go back to what we were trying to do. We were trying to create drama, and we were trying to create movement over those last 4 holes.
Great.
And, I truly hope that we get those last few groups all tight, close, and anything could happen on those 4 holes.
Martin, I was listening to you in the media center today, and it seemed to me that you intimated that the R&A was considering, or at least open to, the idea of investment from PIF. And you went so far as to delineate all the different sports that had accepted money from the Saudis. My question to you is if you're given the initiatives of the R&A, of diversity and inclusion, does the idea of accepting money from a source, the Saudis, whose very actions are anathema to those initiatives, does that bother you at all?
What I was really talking about at that point was, the game of golf's gone through a very difficult 2 years. And, we've seen one of the consequences of the way we've seen it change is a very large increase in prize money. And when you look at the R&A, our responsibility to the game is to grow the game around the world, to bring in new golfers who don't exist today, who don't play golf today. And that's kind of one of our big differentiating things. We're looking for people who don't even think golf is a game for them today. And and to create pathways for the best players to be able to move up. We pay for that out of the Open Championship. When I came in, I took a decision, and we committed to spend twice what we had spent in the previous decade on developing the game, £200 million over a decade. And the Open Championship is the way we pay for it. I think that has served the game well for many, many years, and hopefully will continue to serve. But as prize money has moved up, I was questioning whether we are financially sustainable as a business and of golf to be able to enable us to not just take the short-term increase in prize money, but to look long-term and making sure that we can continue to deliver great championships, have a wonderful competitive Open on the world stage, and still be able to invest into the game. So what I was talking about was more about the financial sustainability. And as we do that, I said, all the business models of golf are changing. And sport is changing dramatically. I think the world has changed quite differently in the last 12 months. Societal changes have happened, global changes have happened. And there are many sports that are pivoting on the way they're going. And I think it would be very dangerous for golf just to turn its back completely on where other sports are going and where the world is going. And I think the R&A has always had an open mind and always thought forward. And, I don't like ruling anything out as long as I don't stray from the mission of how do I keep the game thriving 50 years from now.
If I could just push back a little bit. Yeah, the world is changing, but I don't see the Saudis changing on par and parallel to the world changing. And if you're willing to accept the money from the Saudis in alternative, and they say there's $650 billion in the PIF fund, but there's trillions of clean dollars out there that wouldn't be so controversial, that I think could serve you to your better ends.
Well, I think I'm always somebody who doesn't want to shut doors. I think shutting doors is dangerous. We have very clear values. One of the things I think we kind of are losing in the game over the last 12 months with this constant talk of money, 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 is we are losing values. And somewhere between the point you're making and my feeling is values sit there. And I'm not in favor of closing doors. I'm in favor of keeping doors open, ensuring relationships stay forward, and keeping focused on that thriving 50 years and the values of our sport.
You mentioned the initiatives of a brand new one. What is it, and why'd you do it?
So we've been, we've had in the men's game, just over 10 years now, we have had the Asia Pacific Amateur Championship, which we launched with Augusta National, the Masters Tournament. And we've had the Latin American Amateur Championship, which was the Masters Tournament and the United States Golf Association. The one continent we didn't have it on was Africa. And we wanted to cement the other events, but now we've come to the point where we've decided, with the enormous help of Johan Rupert and his support and his enthusiasm, to start an African amateur. And the winner of that, we'll play it next year in February, and the winner of that will get a place in the Open next year. And we're very excited about it.
Congratulations. Yeah, it'll be at Leopard Creek.
At Leopard Creek.
In South Africa.